It's Harpreet Singh back with another useful information. So as you are preparing for your CAPID application and you would be thinking about different programs under CAPID, like which schools participate for advanced standing programs for foreign dental students. So today I will kind of explore with you which schools are available for 2025 cycle. So let's see. So ADEA CAPID so have a very good tool which you can yourself go. You can just search CAPID programs and you will be able to see this search tool. It provided various I think information about different programs. Either it include program size, program length, open date, start date, application deadline, and also you can kind of have different filters. So we can kind of see one by one means how you can kind of search through all these schools. And in total, there are at present 42 programs which are participating in CAPID 2025 cycle. So let's see one by one how we can kind of filter and try to know different schools about with specific categories. Okay, so when you're choosing school, obviously I think many students have different I think things they have to focus on. Some students like to focus on when they are creating a list for how many schools they want to apply. I think the main things are is also I think about your immigration status, because there are certain school who require you to be permanent resident or US citizen. Some students, or obviously I will say like many student will focus on like the state where you're living. So you will maybe try to see in one of the states how many schools there are, or maybe nearby states. And for some students I think program start date is important, because probably maybe you are in maybe completing your masters, and you probably like to start with a school when your master is completed. So you have like various things to do with dates, so you can kind of focus on that. And then there are obviously application deadline. Usually like most of the schools start the application in March, just very soon, like just after like March 3rd. And but there are many schools who don't work on rolling basis, which means like once you receive the application, so they will just sit on it, and then once the deadline is completed, then they will process the application. But there are some schools who do it on rolling basis. They will start in giving interviews as they see applications coming in and start processing those on first come first serve basis. So again, we already discussed about the legal permanent residency, one of the categories to look at when you're looking at schools. So let's see first in the category of if you are a legal permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, like how many schools are in total. So there are about like 7 programs. ATSU, which will require permanent residency. Tufts is also one of the program. I think in last year, Tufts have allowed people from who have visa, but I think this time it is showing that if you accept only like legal permanents or citizens. Again, it needs to be seen, because sometimes these programs kind of change information. But at present, it's basically showing if you have legal permanent resident only, or you're a US citizen, then you can apply for these programs. Another one is University of Florida. I think it only have like 2 sheets. And next one is University of Missouri, Kansas City. This is also kind of one of those schools in the mid America, which gives you opportunity to apply. Obviously it have less seats, so competition will be more. And same thing with University of Nebraska, which also have like 4 to 6. Like last year I think they have they have given offer to I think 2 3 students. So it's also obviously one of the competitive program. University of New England, I think last time I have not seen them. This time they have not provided the information. I'm not sure if they would have still some sheets coming up or not. University of Oklahoma, that's a very good school. and still it's ongoing with CAAPID. They have not updated yet the information for their 2026 class. So these are the 7 schools. So if we want to okay, just close and remove, obviously it will let's do reset. It will just come back to 42 programs. So this is kind of a very good tool. Let's see based on like different states how many programs there are. Okay, so in terms of state-wise, so if we will see, I think Alabama only have one, and then we have there is nothing in Alaska, nothing which is showing up yet in Arizona, and then there is nothing in Arkansas. Obviously, there are more like 6 schools in California: USC, Loma Linda, UCLA, UCSF, and UOP and Western. So again, some schools have not updated their information yet. So you just see the start dates is still showing like May 5th, 2025. Um, so let's see. I think once there is March 3rd, so most probably once the application cycle actually technically starts, so probably there would be some changes. Okay, in Colorado there is obviously University of Colorado. So they have started with their application from September of last year, and their deadline is already completed. So you would need to wait to like another September of 2025. Okay, so Kentucky doesn't have anything. Delaware doesn't have anything. District of Columbia, there is Howard, which obviously have updated their information, so it's also in March. Florida, they have 2 schools. I think with Florida, the program size is a lot. I'm sorry, I think the program length is lot is 39 months, and then like going to 45 months, which is almost like 4 years time frame. But still, it's maybe Nova if you want to just live nearby. Maybe just 1 year extra may pass by sooner once you start the programs. Okay, next, Georgia doesn't have anything. Hawaii doesn't have any IDP programs. Idaho doesn't have anything. Illinois has Southern Illinois University and also the University of Illinois Chicago. So that's also a big program, 52, and they will also update their timeframes. Okay, next we have Indiana University, which is one of the schools which will also require you to provide a specific letter of recommendation from a non-profit organization. So it have updated their own information. Iowa, University of Iowa also have 1 school which have, I think, very less students. Um, okay, next is Kansas doesn't have anything. Previously, you see Kansas City, but that was different. So Kentucky have University of Louisville. It's a 28-month program, so they need to also, I think, start having the application from March 6th. So Louisiana State University, Louisiana also have 1 program, and then next is Maine. So Maine have this University of New England. I think last time they didn't have any seats, but let's see if they have this time. I don't think this time as well, because some schools will kind of open up the sheets if suppose someone leaves from their program, maybe like a regular DDS student. So let's see if something comes up. Otherwise, they are showing nothing at present. Okay, next we have Maryland, Massachusetts. So there is okay. So there is Boston. Definitely, Boston is one, and then the Tufts. With Boston is obviously one of the biggest program, 100 sheets, and Tufts have 30 to 35. So Tufts this time is showing up, as we have seen, like they need US permanent residency or citizenship. Like last year, I think they accepted without visa as well. Okay, let's see. So we are with Michigan. So Michigan have, let's remove, so Michigan have 1 school, University of Michigan, which have 10 to 20 sheets. And then if we go to Minnesota, Minnesota have also one. Um, Next we can see Mississippi. So Mississippi doesn't have anything. Missouri have a couple of schools. So University of Missouri and AT Still, that's another school. And then we can look other. Montana doesn't have anything, and then Nebraska have one school which we have seen previously. Nevada have also one school, and it also only have like 8 sheets. New Mexico um, also have no, it doesn't have any schools for CAPID. New Jersey also, New Jersey have Rutger, and then New Mexico. New Mexico, I will mention to you. So Toro University is, which is in New York. So they have main campus in New York. So they will, I think, starting from like last cycle, they have a New Mexico campus as well. But it's obviously not showing because they usually just shown as like New York. So New York have many schools. New York have Columbia, New York University, and then Toro is one of them, and then Buffalo. So yeah, it have at least like 4 schools. Then North Carolina, which state-wise we have gone through, and let's see in terms of the application deadline. So in terms of the schools, I think the biggest schools which you will see is coming in March. So if we choose, okay, sorry, I'm choosing, so the application deadline is usually somewhere in, if we remove it and just choose June. So many school have June. Let's start with, I think just to kind of play with it, March doesn't have any school who have deadline because it just starts in March. April doesn't have any school with which have deadline. Okay, May have, in month of May there are a bunch of deadlines for school. So most of these schools are like, especially like Indiana, and also um, like many of these schools you can say, I think, which may follow um, a pattern of like first come first serve processing, which is also, you can call it as rolling basis. So I think it's always good to just kind of have, I think the main thing is if you have all the stuff which you need. Obviously without having things, if you are just applying, then it's waste of time. So but if you have all the things, letter of recommendation and things by April, or by end of March, or by mid-April, I think just try to apply as soon as possible, because of that rolling basis. So we have like these bunch of schools for May, um, and then there are schools in June, which like especially like New York University and Tufts. So these are some of the schools which are on rolling basis. UCLA is not on rolling basis. Same thing with UCSF. So you can apply till June. And then there are other schools: University of Missouri, Kansas City, Nebraska. That can be one of the school on kind of on rolling basis. You can think it only have like 4 seats, um, so it's very competitive. UPenn is also on rolling basis. University of Washington, and then Western University is not on rolling basis. So UT Health, but it's always a good idea if you are prepared with all your stuff to apply it as soon as possible. For some school, I think if you can just work on like your supplemental application things, then probably that would be a good idea to do it. Okay, let's see schools which are in July. ATSU, that's one of the school. Harvard, Temple University, because Temple may need you to give Casper test as well. Um, and next August, then I think most of the schools are like in the range of May, June, and then I think it start decreasing in number. So basically, I think your main spot to apply is like March, at a max like April, I will say ideally. But there is always an outlier, everywhere. Like some people may have applied for some school in June, obviously the schools which are not on rolling basis. But even people who have applied schools on rolling basis, like somewhere in May first week, they have also got accepted. I think it's again all about like what's going on with the candidate pool, and also your strongness of your application and your background. So it's all depends on that, but there are also some outlier. But I think the good spot times are like March and April, and max I think like early May. So don't try to kind of go beyond that, if you can. So yeah, okay, so these are like various schools. September, then there is Rutger, October Boston. But almost I think these school have deadlines opened up, but yeah, I think most of the meat will be taken up from March, April, and like somewhat of the May. Okay, so that's the application deadline. Let's talk about the length of the programs. Obviously, I think your aim is to maybe look at like a school which is nearby you, where you're residing in a state, and maybe a shorter program. Obviously, it reduces uh, your uh, your education debt, because obviously you have to take a lot of debt. That's our mostly goal of the students, to have reduced debt and shorter time frame in their same state. Okay, let's start looking at like the schools which have 0 to 24. So it's kind of ideally I think you're looking for like 24-month program. I think there is no school which is I don't think which is less than 24 months. So 24 is the minimum length of the programs. So all these schools starting from Boston, USC, Harvard, Meharry, Temple University, Toro, Buffalo, University of Colorado, then University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, and then UOP. All these have 24-month program. I think Temple University have this 24 and 36, which I'm not sure. Probably they may have like started similar to like UCSF, like they would be transitioning to a 3-year program, because many schools have increased their program length over the time. So there are at present like you can give and take like 10 to 11 school which have like 24 months. So let's see schools which have 25 to 30-month program. So there are many schools. Now you see the the big chunk of schools. It's 27 schools which are like between 25 to 30 months, like basically 2 years to 2.5 years. And most of the schools are going in that direction, like just going to that 3-year mark. So at present, ATSU, Columbia, Indiana, Loma Linda, Louisiana State University, New York, Rutger, Southern Illinois University, and Temple, University of Iowa, Alabama, Tufts. So yeah, all these are. So I will not like just go because you can play with it on your own and just try to look information. So these are like various programs which are between like 25 to 30. So let's see. Maybe not your ideal, but obviously as CAAPID, it's a very competitive process. So you would be thinking about, okay, I need to kind of get admitted, and if it's ideally like near or the state in which you're living, maybe nearby your residence, then probably you may prefer it. So first is I think schools which are 30 plus, which are like 2.5 years or going to 3 years, is Columbia. Indiana is 30 months. Maricute is 36 months. And Nova is 39. So that's the biggest. I will not say biggest because University of Florida has also one, but they only have like 2 sheets, up to 2 sheets. And next is Temple. It's kind of going to 3 years. So that's kind of a trend. University of Iowa is 30 months. University of Alabama is 30 months. UCSF is 3 years. It used to be 2 years. University of Florida is 45 months. Yeah, it's kind of almost 4 years. University of Washington is 30 months, and then Virginia is 33 months. So yeah, schools are kind of going towards this um, kind of 3 year format, because they um have issues with student that they have not been able to catch up in terms of, because some schools have left, okay, we will do like 3-4 months of transitioning time frame, but students have not been able to catch up. So they are thinking, okay, let's kind of put them in second year of dental school instead of like third year, or maybe like instead of a special session and putting them in second year, let's put them in third year, so they can go through some of the transitioning time frames and also kind of get more adjusted with. But with that, obviously the education debt will rise. Again, it's your personal decision what you like to do. So okay, let's we will see like some program sizes. Okay, with program sizes, okay, let's because there is a very cool, I think, program size bar. And you already know 100 program size is of only one Boston University. So what we can do, I think we can go like which are between like 50 and like 100. So let's see between 50 and 100. Oh, sorry, I have to kind of reset this. So between 51 and 100, so there are, yes, there are a bunch of school, like 6 schools. Boston University is the highest, 100. Maricute, again, I think it's sometimes that's the, I think, issue with this tool, when it says varies estimate. Most of the time, I think, because the schools have not provided the information, or maybe in the filter the tool is not able to do it. So some of these schools will come up, but they don't have 50 sheets. So it's just kind of, these are little bit technical hitches. Okay, so this is UIC. It have up to 52. Again, New England doesn't mention anything. UOP have, I will say, kind of second highest, and then UIC. Okay, so at least you can count on 3 schools which are 50 plus. Okay, let's go to, because we have to change, and then let's go to which are like 30, and then we come back to like 50 schools, because we don't want to count again those same schools. Okay, so we have 10 programs with between 31 to 50 of program size. USC have 34, Loma Linda 32, and then New York 30 to 40, and then Nova is 35, Rutgers is 40, and then Toro, I think, based on the information which we have, is Toro is kind of somewhere in between like 20-30. Again, it changes because of that, like they have not mentioned. Tuft is 30 to 35. University of Colorado is 40, and New England is again, like this year, is also again not showing it. Okay, let's go to range of 20 and 21 and 30, and then let's see what comes up. Okay, I think the bubbles have gone shorter. So what we can do, let's, I think, do two. Let's go 39, and then let's see. Okay, ATSU is another, like less than 10 or up to 10. Columbia 15, USC 34, Harvard, Indiana 16 estimated. So these are like some of the small school, like 10 schools. Obviously, these are more competitive, because even the students who are living nearby will apply for it. But again, like some of the schools, like Nebraska, may require you to have like permanent residency in US. So that may hash out some applications, but again, it's still competitive. Like Southern Illinois, 6 to 10, like 4 up to 4, University of Iowa. Again, when you're applying for these schools, you can take, obviously, a decision about if you even want to apply for it. If it's nearby you, maybe a nearby state, maybe that can be one of the decisions why to apply for these schools. Or maybe the school have a very good program. Some of these small schools have very good program. I think these class sizes are small, so that can be one of the motivation to apply for it, because you can get, I think, some close attention, or maybe to clear up your doubts you can kind of get some attention about that. um, and also some of the technological things are very good at these schools. Then Michigan, and then like University of Missouri, Kansas City 9, and then like again Nebraska 4 to 6, University of Nevada is 8, and we don't know about New England. Chapel Hill is 8. Yeah, so you need to think about, I think, basically in terms of finances. And because if you get an interview or a bench test, so you have to go to these schools. Some have bench tests, some have don't. So these are like some of the schools, like Virginia have 10. So again, it would be your own decision. What are your priorities, or like what is most important for you? Is living near your house is important? For many people it's important. So second thing is obviously debt is important because you have to pay all this debt. It can be, for schools it can be anywhere from 250,000 to 4 or 500,000 as well. Again, depending upon housing, because everything is expensive now. So even for like many school like Columbia, it can be 500,000. For even UIC, it's a 2 year program, or 20, I think about 27, 28 month. It's still expensive. It's with housing, it can be like 480,000 or 470, something nearby that. But there are cheaper schools as well, which can be coming in the range of like 250 with housing. So yeah, so you need to kind of take a decision. Again, it's always recommended, if you can afford it, just put all in, as much as you can, and choose as much wide net as you can, because it's becoming very competitive process. Okay, so let's see, dig deeper into the Temple University, which is in Pennsylvania. So I think this time um, they have these two tracks, 2 year and 3 year advanced standing. Um, so 2 years is obviously the traditional one, and the 3 years, if they will be have some sheets available in like a regular program, so they will kind of have that 3 years. So you will be going to like second year instead of the third year. So this is kind of little bit changing. Um, and also it has seen as a trend, like many schools are going to that route. So you have seen in the list, like what the schools, there are very less schools which have remained 2 years program. Most of the schools had 2 years program, but now it's kind of changing. Either they are doing 2.5 or 3 years. So I think maybe within next like 2 3 years there will be like maybe very few schools which will provide like 2 year programs. So as you see, other requirement instruction: after completing an interview with member of SOD faculty, applicant will be invited to sit for a bench test, OSCE exam, and complete a CASPER exam in order to be eligible for 2 year. It is preferred that candidate for 3 year, pending seat availability, sit for bench test and OSCE, but is not required. Okay, so they have given you like an option. We'll also need like Casper test. So Casper test is needed regardless. So so yeah, this is kind of a new thing for Temple University. So at last, again, I think obviously just wisely choose the schools which you are applying for. Again, I think if you are kind of a permanent resident or a US citizen, your criteria can be to first choose schools which where it's a requirement that that permanent residency is required. So you can hash out some of the application and competition. And then second set of schools you can think about which are near your place. If you are living in California, there are 6 schools, so you can apply for those 6 schools. Another consideration can be if it's a bigger program size, so you have more chance to get accepted. Because if it's only 2 size or like 10 size, obviously the chances are lower. So at least I think you can think about schools which can give you some strategic advantage in terms of immigration status. Second can be schools which are in the same state where you're residing. Third, Third, schools can be about like the schools which are bigger, have program size, bigger in size, so they have more opportunities, you can get accepted. Fourth can be schools you can choose to apply which are maybe cheaper in terms of taking educational debt. So that can be also another consideration which you can choose schools depending upon. But some people uniquely may have some schools which they are thinking maybe postgraduate residency program or something, and they like to go like to Columbia. Or but again, you need to don't put all your eggs in one basket, and have an approach, especially with this competitive process, to have some leeway or some choices which you can try to see from those. So I think you have find some information, so while you're completing your application, so you can kind of think of these different criterias, and also kind of think about and kind of just using this tool before you choose your schools, so you have kind of more information with you before you are putting money with CAAPID and also on the school applications. So we will discuss next video about like specific schools, their requirement, some of the schools obviously focusing more. And if you have any question, you can mention in the comment section of this video. And I hope you have a successful cycle, and best of luck. Thank you.